And Stacy's in Quebec, but she's gonna, she'll still run, do what she needs to.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Governance Committee meeting for September 16th. Call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to accept the minutes from the August 21st, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion? So is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are accepted. Next, we open the meeting up to public comment. If anyone would like to address the Governance Committee meeting, they have 5 minutes. We just ask that you give your name and address.
John's not here.
Seeing none, we'll close the public comment section of the meeting. Next item on the agenda is a review, discussion, recommendation of a resolution authorizing a leaseback transaction to facilitate the acquisition, construction, renovation, and equipping of property of 191 Corporate Drive and 196 Corporate Drive in the town of Kirkwood, to be used for light manufacturing and storage of finished goods, focusing on batteries and hand pallet trucks, and appointing the Raymond Corporation, the company, agents of the agency for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, renovating, and equipping the project, and to provide for sales and use tax exemptions benefit in the amount not to exceed $1,448,000, and to provide a real property tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $2,380,110, including and authorizing a payment in lieu of tax agreement, the schedule for which is attached hereto as Exhibit A, and authorizing the execution and delivery of certain documents with respect thereto.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm sorry I'm not there in person with you. I am actually at the Industrial Asset Management Council, or IAMC, which we are a member of, Fall Forum here in Quebec. If you recall, we moved this meeting date to accommodate one of our project applicants' applications to Homes and Community Renewal. So I will do this from here in Quebec. So today's application from Raymond, the action of the board would be to approve the requested benefits. We did host a public hearing on September 10th. I believe that transcript, which was very brief, I'm sure, was provided to the board. Just a brief recap. I know you have applications in your packet. Raymond Corporation has recently purchased 191 and 196 Corporate Drive in the town of Kirkwood, thus expanding their operations officially into Broome County, which is great news. Project will transform those locations for light manufacturing and finished goods storage, including local vertical integration of battery assembly under the brand of Raymond Energy Storage Solutions. That will streamline their operations, improve competitiveness in the market, and as well, additional manufacturing and storage capacity will help them maintain a market edge and grow their business. So if they did host, just for the record, they did host a official sort of grand opening to announce their location now here in Broome County. They have made some modest improvements to the exteriors of the building, including things like signage and landscaping. But everything that they are applying for is with regard to the renovation and fit out of the actual storage solutions business, as well as warehousing. So none of the exterior improvements, if you will, are included in their request to us. You have a cost benefit analysis in your packet, but just a reminder of some of the project. We're looking at a total investment of over $28 million, including nearly $4.9 million in payroll, as well as nearly $21 million in new annual wages for construction jobs. So very strong project. They're seeking a standard 15-year industrial pilot. Again, today's action would approve the said request.
Any questions or comments? No?
Great ratio of benefit to cost.
It's a really good one.
And great that they're coming into Broome County. I can't believe this is the first project that they're physically in Broome County. It seems like they did it before.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is a review, discussion, recommendation of a resolution authorizing a leaseback transaction to facilitate the acquisition, construction, renovation, and equipping of property and buildings located in the city of Binghamton to include the substantial renovation of 8 existing residential structures into 19 units of housing and the new construction of an existing vacant lot of an additional 19 residential units and 2 commercial spaces, all to be located at 20 Winding Way, 27 Dickinson Street, 41 Clinton Street, 241 Front Street, 274 Front Street, 276 Front Street, 10 Mather Street, 242 Front Street, and 251 Front Street, all within the city of Binghamton, to be known as the First Ward Gateway Revitalization Project, and appointing the First Ward Action Council Incorporated, the company, agent of the agency for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, renovating, and equipping the project, and to provide for a real property tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $216,197, including authorizing a payment in lieu of taxes agreement, copy which pilot schedule is attached here to as Exhibit A, and authorizing the execution and delivery of certain documents with respect thereto.
Okay, as well, today's action by the board would be to approve the requested benefit by First Ward Action Council for the First Ward Gateway project. I won't read all of the project description, but as a reminder, this project includes the renovation of 8 residential structures, as was noted, into 19 units of housing, and as well new construction on Clinton Street. The rest of the properties are scattered throughout the first ward of the city of Binghamton and along Clinton Street as well. A total of 38 units will be developed, serving households between 30 and 60% of area median income in a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. Total project includes approximately 20,000 square feet of residential and 2,000 square feet of commercial. The commercial space will be on the Clinton Street property. As you can imagine, with a property like this, there are a number of New York State agencies involved, including an application to the next round of the low-income housing tax credit program, which is due Wednesday. So part of the reason we're considering this today, the state does want to see a pilot in place for these applications. New York State Housing Trust Funds, New York State Clean Energy Initiative Funds, New York State Restore New York, City of Binghamton, CDBG, and County Land Bank funds. In addition, the commercial space has support from community investment funds and New York State Empire State Development Funds. Given the amount of investment of nearly $16.2 million, that's a modest property tax exemption of roughly $216,197. Total job creation includes 88 local construction jobs with a payroll of $6 million and a 3-year payroll annually of about 46,000 for over those 3 years, so totaling 138,000. Also, we did host a public hearing on September 10th. Again, that one was not attended, no attendees to that one, so the transcript should be fairly brief. Any questions?
I do have one. When First Ward Action Council did a bunch of renovations in that general area before, a lot of the houses had wood siding as opposed to vinyl siding. To me, that seemed like it was bizarre that in 10 or 15 years, somebody is gonna have to go back in and paint. They had a lot of front porches and stuff like that. I don't know that we have any way of telling them how to do what they're doing, but I would be interested in their knowing that they ought to have vinyl siding or some kind of exterior covering that was maintenance free.
Yeah, Mike, I don't think, it doesn't appear we have anyone from First Ward on the call. The only thing I can think of, and I don't know if this is factual, but potentially, if any of those homes were considered to be historic, there might be requirements for how they're finished, but I don't, off that, we can get you an answer, an explanation to that. But that top of mind was the only thing I could think of, but we'll certainly ask Jerry Willard that question as to.
Even if not historic, SHPO has final say, right? So I mean, SHPO can
SHPO does weigh in on these.
fire,
It's, yeah,
even if it may cost
Yeah,
a
I think a
lot.
number of those houses are turn of the century houses on Clinton Street.
Yeah.
They're pretty old, so I think that's why they wanted to keep the original character of the houses.
yeah, and I'm guessing SHPO, and I believe SHPO's involved in this, so SHPO, to Peter's point, ultimately will have say as to how those houses are finished, which runs up cost, to be honest, but it's, yeah. The
Well,
world,
obviously, the new construction is a different story. I mean,
Yeah.
they're free to be more,
Right.
you know.
sure, for sure.
Okay,
Is there a motion?
I'll move it.
yeah, I think.
Is there a second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is a review, discussion, recommendation of a resolution accepting an application from the Wayne Group of New York LLC, the company, for a leaseback transaction to facilitate the financing of the acquisition, renovation, and equipping of the property and buildings situated at 435 Main Street in Johnson City. To provide for sales and use tax exemption benefit in an amount not to exceed $560,000. Provide for a mortgage tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $160,500. Provide for real property tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $3,131,208. And to authorize the agency to set and conduct a public hearing with respect thereto.
Thank you. So this is a new application. So today's action would be to accept the application for purposes of inducing a public hearing. This is a renovation project in the village of Johnson City that has also garnered an award from the New York State Downtown Revitalization Initiative. This is the renovation of, some may recall it as the former Johnson City High School. Most of us probably think of it as Penn Trade Center, which has sat relatively, for the most part, I won't say completely vacant, but certainly underutilized for a number of years. The project at 435 Main Street is also in what's state recognized innovation, or I district. I think it's also in an opportunity zone. It currently features 2 historic 3-story masonry and steel commercial buildings constructed in 1914 and 1926, serving as noted as the high school and gymnasium. These buildings total approximately 100,000 square foot of floor area, including the basement. And the site is eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. I believe it has been added to, or is in process of being added to, and I believe the developer will seek historic tax credits, and they've brought on experts in securing those tax credits. The project involves acquiring the site and adaptive reuse. The high school building will be renovated and reconstructed for 58 market rate residential rental apartments, comprising of 48 1-bedroom, 10 2-bedroom, and 10 2-bedroom units, covering a total of 48,000 square feet. Will also include a residence lounge. Gymnasium will be repurposed into approximately 12,000 square feet of commercial space. It is my understanding they have a commercial and nonprofit tenant that is set to vote on a long-term, I believe, a 5-year with a 5-year renewal at subsequently 5-year renewal terms. This is a strong tenant. I think they're voting this week. It also will be connected to a workforce training program that would be located at the site. The project would include improvements to the surrounding site, including 40 additional parking spaces, the acquisition and installation of necessary furniture, fixtures, and equipment to support residential and commercial uses. And it aims to revitalize the historic site while contributing to the continued redevelopment and revitalization of Johnson City. From Project Dynamics, roughly $20.2 million total project cost. with 270,000 in yearly payroll at 1.5 of FTEs over the 3-year period. Construction jobs, and they have adhered to our local labor policy, 80 construction jobs totaling $6.6 million for a total exemption of roughly 4.8 million, including sales and mortgage recording tax. You have a cost benefit analysis and additional project information in your packet. I don't think Conan Saratani is there yet, but it's my understanding he will be at the full board meeting at noon. So he would be available to answer any additional questions.
Any questions or comments?
It's a comment, principal for the group, Mark Lane, has a relationship with M&T Bank. I'll abstain from this discussion and vote.
Thank you.
Hey,
Pete.
Stacy.
Yeah.
We've been doing a really good job in terms of calculating the cost benefits.
Mhm.
You know, this one's 4-to-1, and that doesn't include the laundry list of other benefits you articulated.
Mhm.
At what point do we say at what point do we say that's not great for us?
I mean, I think ultimately that would have to be a determination of the board, that you would want to see a minimum threshold, you know, cost benefit to cost return. We would have to spend some time kind of calculating what those criteria would be for minimum, you know, threshold, that if it's at, you know, below a 4-to-1 or below a certain amount, we would want to either negotiate the pilot differently or do some, you know, some outcome from their end. So I think it would have to be maybe a few board members and staff coming up with some criteria at the moment. Yeah, I mean,
I say just, I want to interject a second. I believe this shows a less benefit because of the job. There's really no job creation with housing. So if we looked at it a little bit differently as to what it's bringing to the area, that's really what, you know, because it's missing that big chunk of payroll that normally
I
would boost
would
it.
say you're, making an eyesore, presentable also.
Yeah, there's a little.
Agreed. I
You
go by it all the time.
have a
Yeah.
building there that really is deplorable.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just, I guess my point was that that's why it drops.
It's almost like land
the
bank
cost benefit.
stuff.
yeah, I mean, that's where I think non-financial, you know, benefit on your investment, you know, how do we give some sort of quantitative, you know, analysis of that, of rehabbing a decade-long underutilized. I mean, looking at the pilot structure on this one, I mean, it is given the term, it's a strong pilot for the municipalities, and they're getting 60% of the new payment, which, you know, a building of that scale has really been underutilized from a taxing perspective.
Sure.
I think our new pilot structure has actually provided a stronger benefit to the taxing entities, you know, quite frankly, you know, we're structuring those. But yeah, I mean, happy to look at some additional ways of measuring that cost benefit and seeing, you know, is it a discussion at the pilot level? Is it a short, you know, is it something we can negotiate with the developers?
Okay, thanks. I wanted to raise it only because this one's as skinny as it's been,
Yeah,
and it doesn't include a lot of other benefits. If you ever, not that we do, but you know, if you look at the total governmental investment in this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's probably, I don't know. You wonder if it's even gonna be positive when you get done, but it's a good project in terms of that is an eyesore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a major parcel, and if you don't do something with it, there's gonna be a wrecking ball at some point.
Yeah, or you know, I think it's been somewhat immune from, you know, people breaking in and this and that, but it's those large buildings become problematic. And just ironically enough, one of our sessions tomorrow is on getting sort of best practices in negotiating property tax incentive programs. So I will take copious notes of you all on that, so.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Any other additional questions or comments? Is there a motion? Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And one abstention. Motion is carried. Guess that's all we have for the governance committee right now. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we're adjourned.
Stace, I'm just gonna turn off our.
Yep, that's fine. I'll be back. I'm not moving.
That's